Well, it's quite interesting what the Iranian president is saying here on his website. He says that the isolation of Qatar is unacceptable and that the Iranian airspace, land and sea routes will always be open to a friendly country like Qatar. These words won't really be a surprise because since this dispute broke out, Iran has been fairly supportive of the Qatari position, and it's been sending food and supplies there. But what it's likely to do is prove incendiary for people like Saudi Arabia and its allies, because one of their main demands, its 13 demands, is that Qatar cuts its ties with Iran. Qatar has said this is unlikely to happen. Qatar actually shares a gas field with Iran, and while it's trying to circumnavigate this blockade, if you like, this isolation that is being imposed by its Gulf neighbours, the result of all of this is that Qatar may end up using these land, air and sea routes to try and get more supplies in, to try and circumnavigate what is being this case of isolation that it's being put in.
Andrew, it seems in this dispute, at least, like there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen here, which begs the question, is there any chance of this being resolved anytime soon?
Well, there do seem to be ongoing efforts to try and get the two sides back to the negotiating table. We heard from the US Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson, last night. He urged negotiations to start again. He said that some of the demands that were being made were not reasonable, but he said there was some room for negotiation in other areas. But what we do know is these demands, according to Saudi Arabia and its allies, have been put on the table for 10 days. That 10-day period lasts until the end of this week. When that period is up, if there's no agreement, we understand these demands then become void. But what happens after that, we just don't know at the moment. We don't know whether Saudi Arabia is going to impose any more sanctions, take any more action. We've heard from the UAE that they don't want any military action. They don't want regime change in Qatar, if you like. But as for how this is all going to work out in the next few days, we've just no idea at the moment.